What is going on, guys? I am back with the real Cobra Burnout, and
Boom.
we're uh, we're gonna talk the Flash. So and
Oh
and
yeah.
and we're not talking the Flash like what the '90s movie. We're not talking that. We're gonna be talking about the new movie with is it Andy Muschietti was the guy that directed this one. So this is the new 2023 Flash with Ezra Miller with Michael Keaton. If you haven't seen the trailer, with Ben Affleck and a few other surprises. But I think what we're gonna kind of do is talk our general thoughts first, go from there, and eventually we will talk a little bit of spoilers. But we're not going to talk that right now. We're let's see. Oh, I jacked you up, bro. Okay, there we go. Almost messed you up. I had you disappear off the screen for a second, but I'm trying to bring up the old IMDb for us. So, anyways, so you just saw the movie today, right? So
Yes.
today is Saturday, the 17th. So it's been out for
hmm
3 days, I guess, at this point, if you count the Thursday evening. Um,
Who sees movies on Thursdays?
Only psychopaths would see a movie on a
I think
Thursday.
yeah. Only crazy people.
Only
Yeah,
bad.
how was that Thursday showing?
Man, I do like the Thursday showing. I like the Thursday showing just because a lot of the times now they're doing these Thursday showings at like 7 p.m. So that's what time I actually saw it at. Was I saw it at 7 p.m. on Thursday, and then it's whatever. It's like I think it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So with trailers, 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I was back home by
Yeah.
like 10 o'clock. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
Um,
sending me texts like you want to talk
yeah,
spoilers already?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
I haven't even seen it yet,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Who sees
yeah.
it on Thursday night?
Yeah. We
I
talking.
gotta work.
Are we talking spoilers, bro?
We are gonna get in some spoilers with this one.
Yeah, but I will say,
We'll save
okay,
it for the
so
last half.
yeah, for sure. So if we're talking about our overall thoughts, so whenever the movie starts, there's a it's basically like the Flash is I don't know if this really counts as spoiler, but he's basically like cleanup man. He calls himself the janitor, so he's basically doing these little side hustles for Batman. But like so as soon as that happens, the it almost sets the tone for the movie that like this isn't a super um serious film. Like it doesn't take itself super serious. Like it's actually legitimately funny. Like the very beginning of it is him trying. Like one thing I did like,
Uh,
and is
mhm.
he has like a calorie counter on his. He has like a watch, I guess that Batman made him or something like that, and he has a calorie counter that's basically like, hey. You need to go and eat food. So like the very beginning of it is just like him, kind of dealing with like,
Metabolism.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like, hey, my metabolism is super fast. I need to get this sandwich. And so, of course, like he goes into the sandwich shop. The guy's like wasting his time trying to,
Spoilers. We're
it's
right
just
into the
like, well,
spoilers.
yeah, but I mean, it's just like, but I mean, it's just, but it sets the tone that the movie is a comedy.
Yeah, I
It,
wouldn't call it. Yeah, I mean, well, comedy is. I wouldn't necessarily call it a comedy, but that is a good point. Let me ask you this: like, how many people were in your theater?
Oh,
First
it
off,
was
like,
it was it was pretty full because there was definitely a couple times in the movie where certain things happen and you have like the random like gaggle of 10 or 15 people that are just clapping in the movie, which
that's
I
what I was
always
going to ask you
is were people
did
clapping.
were people laughing? And because you
Yeah,
said comedy, and my experience, my theater wasn't completely full. It was probably between one third and one half full, so it
yeah,
actually wasn't that full. But they have it like on every freaking screen here for some
yeah,
reason.
yeah,
And I saw the first showing on Saturday, which normally isn't very packed. And anyway, but it was very noticeable. I mean, I laughed out loud several
I
times, and the guy next to me,
yeah,
a seat over, was laughing, and I was
yeah.
like, okay, this is. I
I
mean, it was legit.
I
Like,
so that's what I'll say. Like, and that's kind of been the problem with these DC extended universe or DC EU or whatever.
dark and
Like,
serious.
yeah, they're too stark, they're too serious, which is kind of funny because the director of this movie is it Andy Muschietti. Andy Muschietti directed It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. Like he's like a horror guy. I mean maybe that's not what he directed prior to It, but like those are pretty scary movies and then he goes and makes this movie and it's like kind of an action comedy almost. But um but yeah, the tone for the movie is just completely
A little
different.
lighter.
It's a little
Yeah.
lighter, and I will say, like with all the controversy with Ezra Miller being, this, uh, I don't want to get too whatever weird with it, but like basically he's had a rough go of it. Maybe that's what we can say. He's had a rough go of it. The spotlight
Yeah.
maybe has tarnished him a little bit, but he kills it in this movie. And
Yeah.
like he's
Hmm.
great. Honestly, like he is super funny and super great. And with I mean, if you've seen the trailers, there's two versions of Barry Allen in the movie. There's like the version that is in the Justice League, and then he whatever
Hmm.
crosses over and he goes into a different dimension, and that version of Barry Allen is totally different. He's in like they don't really explain that in the trailers as to how different he is, but he's way different. Like in it's really easy to tell which version of Barry Allen is talking at any given point. If you see them and they start talking, you're like, oh yeah, that's the Flash from this universe, that's the Flash from this other universe, or whatever. Like it's which I thought was like a great way to distinguish them, because like usually whenever you have like these like clone or alternate dimension crossovers, you end up having the thing where like it's like the stereotypical piece where somebody catches both of them and they're like, which one is the real one? And he's like, it's me. And like on this one, you can definitely tell which one is the real one, or which one is the
Yeah.
one you're used to. Um,
So yeah, this is the Flashpoint. Like this is the movie version of the Flashpoint where he goes back, tries to save his mom, and he just messes up the timeline, causes
yeah,
all these fractures. And I like how they explain that in the movie. But one thing that like you're talking about when he tries to go back to his regular time after saving his mom,
yep,
and in that did he get punched? Well, we don't want to spoil it, but I know what you're talking about with the second Barry Allen. But one thing is like that Barry Allen's younger than
yeah,
him, also. So
yeah.
he's
He's
like
like from
18
yep,
instead of like a little bit older. So that's where I think Ezra Miller's acting got way better because a lot of people, this movie is already is divisive because of Ezra Miller's like outside antics and getting in trouble
yeah.
with
That's the good
certain
word. Yeah, just
things.
yeah,
So there's that, and then there's also a group of people that just don't like him as the Flash from the previous because he's a little bit annoying, a little bit obnoxious, and kind of his mannerisms. But what I liked about this one, the more mature Barry, like all once you get the younger and the little bit older one together,
yep,
the more mature Barry becomes more serious. He's
yep.
got he's got a mission he's trying to do. He's doing this, and like I was like, oh, okay, that's a lot better acting. I like that version of the Flash a little better
Yep.
than the younger talk all the time and obnoxious version. But so that was
Exactly.
kind of cool to see, and and let's just face it, I think myself, I was pretty hyped for this movie. I try to keep my bar very low
Yeah.
for movies nowadays
Yeah. Yeah.
because most of them always disappoint. Pretty much they throw everything in the trailers nowadays, and you've already seen the movie.
Yep.
But this one was worth it for me going in. I went in for Batman, Michael Keaton,
Yep.
Batman, because I grew up with that '89 version of
Yep.
Batman, and it didn't disappoint. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say like
was
like
he's
without
in
getting
it a
into
lot.
yeah, I was gonna say without getting into spoilers in terms of Michael Keaton, like that's not really a spoiler that he's in the movie because like that's in the trailer. It's him walking up to both Barrys and saying like you want some help or whatever, and
Yeah,
he's in the full get up. But in terms of his performance as Batman, like did you think that was did you think it was worth it? Like, did you think that like was that everything you wanted out of another Michael Keaton Batman, or do you think there was still a little bit on the table that they could have done?
I liked what they did. Now they did film three maybe four different endings for this movie, so we can talk
Okay,
about that towards the end after spoilers.
yeah,
So, but that aside, I like how they handled the Michael Keaton Batman because I mean Michael Keaton himself is older, so I like what they did, and you can see in the previews, he's kind of in retirement and comes
yeah,
out to he had all the good gadgets, a little bit upgraded from the movie. I mean, his bat wing was
Yeah.
freaking phenomenal in this movie.
I
Uh,
and it's been a while since I've seen
yeah,
the 89, and I guess is it the 91 Batman?
yeah, I think
Like
so.
Batman Returns. In that one, so like I mean it's in the trailer as well. So I mean if you just have watched the trailers, you'll know this. But does his Batwing in those movies, does it fold down the same way that it did in this movie? Because I thought that was
Uh,
actually pretty cool, the way that like it kind of like
uh,
swooped in and then it was like
Down
folding into.
out of the Batcave. I think
Yeah.
in the other ones you see it hanging. I have to go rewatch those, which I probably will. I said I didn't have time to do it before these movies, but you don't see it like fold out. And this is a different Batwing too. It's actually bigger than the original one. He crashed the original one and apparently upgraded from there. But
Okay.
so this is a bigger one. This one actually, it has more seats in it and stuff like that, and it does more. I'll tell you, I say it
Yeah, it's
has
good. Oh yeah,
more
it
goodies.
yeah, it definitely has some pretty cool stuff. And I guess yeah, it does
Yeah.
hold more people because it's almost like a three-seater, because even in the
Yep.
trailer you've got
Yeah.
Batman at the very front, and then you've got the two Barrys in the back, and they're like filming.
Which yep, which makes sense that Batman would probably have that because we didn't see that whole gap from in that timeline. He probably has a Robin at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe Batgirl or whoever. Because he's always bringing in some extra people to help. So he probably has these extra seats for them. But
Yeah.
before we get too far in, are we gonna do the movie grading scale that we're
Oh, the
working on
movie
here?
grading scale. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to do it like out of popcorns, and like out of five popcorns?
Yeah, let me see what I send you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that text.
And
So
I was gonna
so
say
it'll
at
be
least
like
the
it's basically a 1 out of 5
yeah,
with kind of like a 5-star thing, but we do a little
like
popcorn
five
freshness
popcorns.
scale.
Yeah.
So one would be stale.
Yeah,
What's
stale
two?
popcorn.
What's two?
Oh, stale. Maybe two would
Ah, man, I
be
sent it
just
to you, bro.
stale. Yeah, did you? I'm trying to look at it. Let's see. Oh gosh, weren't ready. Let's
We're never
popcorn.
ready. We're never ready.
We're not always ready.
I
I was
can't
too.
find it because you got like 3 different chats going with me here.
Oh, you got stale, fresh, salty, fresh, buttery, layered, buttery good. What's the difference between buttery and layered, buttery good? Obviously, that's the fourth
Oh,
and the fifth.
yeah,
So like, what's
you know how you get your regular butter popcorn, but then you
yeah?
can actually ask for it to be layered, so you get extra. It's
Oh,
almost like
okay.
too good, man. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. So you're talking about like they put one scoop of popcorn in, they put a little bit of butter, they put the second scoop, they put a little bit of butter, they put the third
yeah,
scoop, and then put a little. Okay, okay. So
yeah.
layered buttery. Um, you know what? If we're doing it out of a five popcorn review scale, I would almost say this is probably like buttery. This is a buttery movie.
So that'd be a 4 out of 5
Four out of
stars.
five. 4 out of 5 pops.
That's a really good score. That's a really good score.
And
I'll
and I
be
think I was gonna
yeah.
say
Go ahead.
like I was gonna say and if we're also talking about just in comparison to some of the other DC movies that we've gotten, this is a pretty dang good DC movie. I don't know if you could ask for a better DC movie in 2023. Like the last good one was the Suicide Squad with James Gunn, which he had to like resurrect that carcass because the first Suicide Squad was awful. Um, and then like the other one was Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was also resurrecting the Justice League carcass because that one got destroyed by Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers. And Wonder Woman 84, I was angry at that movie. At by the end of it,
I like.
I was like,
Oh, really?
I can't believe this movie came out.
I liked all
Uh,
the Wonder Womans.
Man, the first Wonder Woman is good, but Wonder Woman 84, like that was peak pandemic, and they were like, well, here is a movie, and so, and I think I mentioned at the beginning of this stream, but like whenever I'm in the middle of watching a movie and I'm like, oh wait a second, am I watching a bad movie? That's how I felt about Wonder Woman 84, just in the very beginning with the mall scene. So if you're just comparing it to other DC movies, I think this is a buttery movie. And then if you're just talking about comic book movies, I can maybe drop it down to salty fresh. But I think buttery is probably where I'm at.
Yeah, so you kind of I'm like right in the on the line between salty fresh and buttery. So I'd go a salty fresh buttery. So that'd be a 3.5 out of 5
Three
star.
and a half. Okay.
Yeah. I almost wanted to go 4, but you did 4, and I'm not doing the same
Oh,
thing.
you're not gonna copy me? Okay.
No,
Well, like I was gonna
there's a
say
few
this.
things that's like, you know, I'm excited about the movie,
Yep.
to go see it. You know, go see it in theaters if you
Yep.
can.
Yep.
You know, there are some things that I would like to do differently, but in the movie, however, overall it was pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty good.
And I'll ask this question, and we can, like, this has definitely been a point that I've seen on the floating on the interwebs. So you don't have to answer like spoiler wise. What did you think about the CGI in the movie?
Okay, so yeah, I was really worried about the CGI because right before the movie hit, all of a sudden I started seeing all these posts online. CGI is the worst ever. CGI is the worst ever.
Yeah.
And that is one thing I'll give it a slight knock on. Kind of, it might be one of the reasons why I went 3.5 on it. But there are some scenes that CGI is like, okay, you saved a
It's a
little
little
cash
rough.
right here. You saved a
Yeah.
little cash right here. But overall, for the majority of the movie, it was fine.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Barry's saving the babies. That was like, y'all spent too much time here because your CGI is not good enough,
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Um, they should have made that a lot quicker, and you wouldn't have noticed it. And
Yeah.
then when he's traveling through time, it's a little wonky
Yeah.
with some of the
So,
CGI. But I was kind of thinking,
but
okay, I can
okay.
deal with that because it's like a lens effect, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, and we got a lot of good feels, a lot of good nostalgia feels in
Yeah.
in this flick.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I was gonna say. So, like, you're talking about the CGI, like with the there's this big. I don't want to say it's an epic scene, but it's like there's a scene where he has to do something and he's saving a bunch of people, and like the CGI in that a little rough, but at the same time you're like,
yeah,
yeah, I got like how
whenever baby looks like a carbon copy of the other baby, and they
yeah,
don't function the way that
they don't look like
they don't look
babies.
ultra realistic.
Yeah,
Like they
but
spent too much up close time with those and too much time on it. They should have made that scene quicker, and it
yeah,
would have been less evident. You
yeah,
know,
and but then you've
the
got like
dog
what
was good in that part.
the dog, yeah. I feel
Yeah,
like
he looked
that's another thing. Yeah,
he looked
the dogs are
realistic.
always yeah, the dogs are always okay. It's pretty hard to mess up a dog, I feel like. But yeah, just them whenever he's traveling like through the speed force and all that, like I think that was almost a conscious decision that, hey, like whenever he's traveling through this thing, like this is what it looks like to him, because if they had tried to make it hyper realistic, then it probably would have looked worse.
Yeah. Well, let's just put up the spoiler thing. Hey, this is too brutal trying to talk around it. I mean,
Trying to talk around
yeah,
the spoilers.
this would be killing me if I was listening to this. Like,
Yeah.
just to put up a spoiler thing right here,
Yeah.
and that way we can actually
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about the movie.
Yeah.
They got
Let's
a
see.
rating. I gave it 3.5, salty, fresh, buttery, and then you gave it a buttery, which is a
I
four
gave
out
it
of
a
five
buttery.
star.
Yeah, let me see if I've got my
Any
spoiler one coming. Let's see. Where's that thing at? I think I
Anything like over, 3 out of 5 for me is a
It's a
good one
good
to go
one.
see in theater.
Yeah.
So I recommend it. And it's like a 2 and a half or 2 hour 25-minute runtime.
Yeah.
So you're getting your money's worth out of it.
Yep.
And you stay for the end credits because there is an end credit scene.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, there is
Some
an end
people get
credits
up
thing, and
and
you're like,
yeah, some
ah,
people get up, but yeah, go ahead and stay for it.
yeah. Let me see if I can add the spoiler talk real quick, and then we can talk about it. Just in case people are tuning in on stream. I don't want anybody to be like, hey, wait just a dang second. I thought I had this in my little
Yeah.
OBS piece, but I did not. Let's
Yeah, it's just too
see.
hard to talk around this movie.
Let's
Not
see.
not the way we're going.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get this format locked in.
Yeah, I almost botched it a second ago with talking some of the spoilers. Okay, all right. I've got the spoiler talk, at least banner, just ready. Let's put it right here. Let's see. Let's put it right there. Spoiler talk. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we can talk spoilers a little bit. Okay. So if we're talking spoilers, let's see. Where do we want to start with? We want to
I
start
want
with
to
the
go
very.
through the movie. I want to go from the beginning to the end of this movie and break it
Okay.
down.
Okay.
Um, because it was too hard to talk around it.
Yeah. So you want to talk the beginning where he's getting the sandwich with the guy, and he's like, hey, so and so is always here, and she's always got my sandwich made for
So,
me.
yeah, like this movie is almost chopped up into two different movies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how long was that first scene where he's on his regular
So
Earth?
on his regular sketch. Oh, he's on
It
his
was a
regular Earth.
good, I mean, what,
It's probably
30,
like
40 minutes
yeah,
it seemed
30,
like?
40. Yeah, yeah, because
I mean, it felt like it was going fine, but it felt like like I thought we were only going to see just a little bit of the Bat flick. And let me tell
yeah,
you something. Ben Affleck as Batman. I like him as Batman. That dude is jacked when he
yeah,
plays Batman.
yeah.
He physically looks like Batman,
He's
and
intimidating.
he's intimidating. That dude's like tall anyway normally, but he's like jacked in the movie. He got jacked for it in real life. So we got to see a good amount of Ben Affleck as Batman, and
Yep,
from the previews, like this Bat cycle that's in
yep,
the very background here,
yep.
that thing was pretty dang cool. I mean,
That
he
so
had
that
his
one,
own,
I was gonna say
yeah,
that one had some pretty cool effects. Like he's like the whole idea is that somebody's like stolen this crazy
oh,
virus or something like that, and so
all of,
Batman's trying to
yeah,
find it or trying to chase him
yeah,
down.
all of Batman's CGI and special effects were spot
Yeah,
on. I'll say that. So if you're there for Batman, you're good.
yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah.
golden. Um,
But he's
yeah,
chasing him on his
to
bat
the
cycle, and so the of course the cars are like trying to avoid Batman, and Batman's like kind of weaving in and out of traffic. But and like the tank, or not the tank, but like the Humvee or whatever, tries to take a real sharp corner, and then Batman's bat cycle has like this piece on the, it's not an afterburner, but it just like turns sideways to help him boost so he can drift around the vehicles, so that he can
Yeah, so
just like make these.
he's got a legit jet cycle, and
Yeah,
then it can convert and has the wing thing to help
yeah,
him. Kind of, there was some type of effect going on there, but yeah, just from start to finish on the movie, like it starts out. You got Barry Allen. He's trying to go to work. He's
yep,
late. He's trying to get his sandwich order because he needs those calories,
yeah,
and then Bruce Wayne calling him, and he's not the first phone call. He's like
yeah, yeah,
the last. He's like the last pick. He's already Bruce Wayne's, and it's actually Alfred getting a hold of him.
yeah,
You know, he's like, they already called Wonder Woman and
yep,
whoever, Superman, whoever else, and they weren't available, and
yep.
Flash has to go help Batman. And what's happened? Well, the bad guy's already like stolen
It, it,
some
it was some
extreme
crazy
virus
virus. Yeah, it was a
that's
crazy.
being held at a hospital apparently,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and of course Batman fighting them. They had detonated something, and so Flash has to go in and save all these people while Batman's chasing down the bad guy.
Well, and
So
and
that's
he's
why
just like
he's like,
he's trying to evacuate people out of this hospital. Like
yeah,
the hospital is structurally compromised.
sound and it's starting to come down, and
Yep.
that's where all the babies fall out the window.
Yep.
That's the CGI part that's for
It's a
me is
little.
probably the worst. It wasn't too bad, but I was like, oh, this is what people are talking about. But like all the babies look the same.
Yeah.
There might be a shades color different, type of thing, but they all looked identical.
Yeah, they're
And
all
then the other
generic
thing
white babies.
With this Flash, which was different, and even because I went there with my kids, even my son noticed. He's like, this little topic, but apparently this Flash is not able to grab people and run with them at super speed
Yeah.
because it might hurt them or whatever.
Which they do
Which
explain.
kinda, but
Yeah.
I mean, what did they say to explain it?
So
That
I
their
don't.
clothes
I
are going
don't.
to catch on fire?
Well, yeah. So they say that, but then he says, like, whenever he's talking, it's later on in the movie, but they do talk at some point where Barry is talking to Barry, and he says,
He's giving
"Hey,
them some rules. Yeah.
yeah," and he says, "Hey, if you run too fast, you can, basically break people's necks. Like you need to you can't run as fast as you possibly can to move people. You need to he's like you need to hold the back of their head while you're running with them, or else
I
like you can
remember
make
him
them sick."
saying that.
Yeah, he says that
You got to
because then
hold the
the
back of their
other
neck,
yeah,
their
he
head.
says something like that. He's like, you got to hold them a specific way whenever you're running with them, or else you could make them. I think he says like you can make them sick. But either way, so that's the
So,
thing is
so he says he can't run with them, and that explains why he's doing all these antics with these babies falling out. Like he's at super speed, and it's just slow motion. They're falling out of this high
yeah,
rise hospital, the tallest hospital in the city in the world apparently,
yeah,
and they're falling out. And so he's just like gently staging them up, and then he
Yeah.
gently like catches them onto a big gurney. He puts one in a microwave for some reason to
I
keep them
never really
safe.
understood. I never understood that
Because there was
why you
like
put
some
them in the
fire, so
microwave.
he was trying to make him like he put him in the microwave so the fire wouldn't hit him, and then like he moved something where it knocked this other
Well,
debris
he
around,
like
and
kicked a bedpan so that it would block
yeah,
the fire from the.
what it reminded me of is Quicksilver in
Yeah,
the
so
X Men.
that's exactly what I
Is
was
it
gonna say.
Quicksilver in the
Yep.
X Men movies?
Yeah, they're
And
both
that dude has a
Quicksilver.
lot of fun, but he goes around, he like moves things, you know.
Yep.
But even Quicksilver would grab people out. But all the other Flashes grab people and run with them.
Yep.
I think I know way I could explain it in my mind was okay, this Flash hasn't learned that they when he's moving somebody, he has to phase them to his like atomic, speed, and the
Yep.
Speed Force will protect them, and they basically become conscious of kind of like he is, kind of like in the TV series where they kind of explain it a little better, where he could actually make people kind of accelerate with him, and they would be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And that's how the Flash actually runs with people. Like he keeps them safe by bringing them into the Speed
The
Force,
Speed Force. Yeah.
staying with him where they're actually at his level, and it drains his power,
Yeah.
So
Doing stuff like
but
that.
so maybe he hasn't really learned that because if he knows how to phase with another person with them, then he can move them.
Yeah.
And that one Barry the second Barry once he did get his powers moved the Prime Barry and made him sick. So that
Yeah,
was weird.
that's what I was gonna
But
say. That was the thing is like he tells him that he has to
he's
move
like,
him a
"What'd you do?" He's
specific
like,
way.
"I just moved you a little bit," and he's like,
Yeah, and he's
"Whoa!"
like,
He's
yeah, he's like, what did you just do? He's like, I moved you. He's like,
I moved it was just a little bit. So that was a little wonky on the Flash physics, but maybe there's something in the comic books out there that
yeah,
kind of explains it better. But all the other Flashes are able to figure it out. But so there was a probably solid 5 minutes of the babies falling that could have been cut down to like 30 seconds maybe. But
yeah,
and that would him saving people out of the hospital. That's all I need to see him flashing around,
yeah,
saving people out of the hospital. And that scene would have been a little better for me. But once we got past that, I mean, all the Batman stuff, the Batflick stuff at the beginning
yeah.
was top
Pretty epic.
notch. I thought we were just gonna get just a little bit of Batflick, but we
He's
got a solid
he's in there
amount.
for he's in there for pretty much that whole first 30 minutes.
And Wonder Woman shows up.
Wonder Woman, yeah, which that's like the
Listen up, it's always like
I was gonna say
this is
she's the cameo of 2023 because she shows up in
pretty
Shazam
much.
also.
Yep,
Yeah,
at the very
because
end.
I was gonna say you've seen Shazam, right? Yeah, because they keep referencing
Yep,
her in Shazam, and then
yep.
she finally like shows up, and then in this one, whatever Batman, knocks this Humvee over the bridge, but he's got to save the guy. The guy has the
Yeah.
briefcase, and Alfred's
That's
like
shown with the
yeah,
viruses. Yep.
it's attached to him. He's like, hey, if you let that briefcase fall into the water, then it's gonna kill millions of people in Gotham.
Yep.
And of course, like he's slipping a little bit, and then Wonder Woman with the lasso of truth comes down, and
Lassos them both up. So
yeah,
that was a scene that people were laughing about because
yeah, because he has a
because
lasso of truth around him.
you don't really realize the lasso's still like around Batman or whatever, but Batman's all of a sudden smiling, which was really I was like, why the heck is Batman smiling?
Yeah, because
And he's just like talking this this stuff like real honestly to Wonder Woman. She's just like kind of smirking, and he looked
yeah,
down and he's like, lasso of truth, and he's like trying to get
yeah,
it off. And then
yeah.
Barry touches it and is like giving all his truths up, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Which they do that. I mean, they have done that quite a bit. Like that's kind of been one of the reoccurring jokes with Wonder Woman is like she'll
yeah,
lasso truth people, and then which
yeah,
I mean it is funny, but I mean you would almost think though like Batman would be able to be strong enough to negate this lasso of truth, and not even Batman can
magic,
get around it.
magic.
It's
Yeah,
too
I
much
mean, he didn't
magic.
say anything too bad, but I mean,
Yeah,
it basically turned him into an honest, like open Bruce Wayne type character.
yeah, yeah.
He
He's made
dropped his hardcore. It made him drop his hardcore Batman persona. So,
yeah.
but
Uh,
that was fun. So we got a good little chunk of that, and so the Batfleck has some good stuff in there, and then old Barry, he decides to go ahead and do the old time travel bit.
yeah.
So you like the way they did that special effects?
The special effects for the Flash or just like
Mm-hmm.
the Speed
For the
Force.
time travel, yeah.
Yes, yes, actually. So if we're talking about that, like, so he's basically able to run real fast, and then as he's running, he kind of like he goes. Does he go only like 5 or 10 minutes back the first time? Because he goes back just a little bit the first time, right? Or does he go back like a day?
So he goes back and um, he kind of does the thing where he peeks through and
Yeah,
looks,
yeah. But
and
he's
that was
is
pretty cool to see because that's what he did in that other movie where he
yeah.
went back and warned Batman about something. Remember that? Like you
What
see him like kind of poking through the
Yeah.
time, and he was like warning somebody.
Was that?
It's been a while.
Yeah, that was in Batman v Superman, right? When he
Yeah, I
does
think so.
that.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
setting up. Yep.
yeah.
So
But yeah. So the first time he goes back, he just doesn't he just go back to the building collapsing and he looks through. He does that at least once, right?
yeah, he looks at the babies again,
Yeah,
and I was
and
like, why are they?
he's
And he
basically like, what?
pokes that through.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you see the babies falling in. I was like, that's not the CGI scene you want to go back to.
yeah.
So
uh,
whoever
but
made that decision was not good.
but that kind of
But
like triggers him that or not triggers him, but it basically like tips him off that hey, if I run fast enough, oh, the trigger for this or the catalyst is that his dad calls him and his dad is like, hey,
yeah, they're
how because his dad is in jail for killing
mhm,
his mom,
yeah,
and
wrongly.
Barry goes back and looks at this archival footage that apparently Bruce Wayne has used some sort of chat GPT AI to
You know,
like clean up, post effects, whatever, fix up, and
well, yeah. What's interesting about that? So I think it must have been Batman versus Superman, where Bruce Wayne figures out that who the Flash is. You remember that?
because
Like
because it's off of that.
and he's cleaning up this image off of, and he sees once he cleans up the image because the Speed Force must mess up these cameras, you
Yeah,
know. But when he cleans it up and could see like Barry
yeah,
do his flash thing, so he's doing that for him again, and which makes sense later in the movie because he went back and he's like created his own paradox. Like
yeah.
that film would have never been corrupted had he not gone back to that point and used the Speed Force around that camera.
To try to yeah.
But yeah, so he cleans it up this time and hoping it'll exonerate his dad with this hearing, and his dad never looks up into the camera,
Yes, yeah.
so his alibi
And
is not there.
it kind of like not tips him off, but it kind of like sets him off to where he just like gets so angry or whatever that he starts running,
Yep.
and that's what gets him to go back because
Well,
I guess it's like a
he
specific speed that he has to go, and he starts actually
yeah,
going back in time.
super fast. Yep. So beyond the speed of sound or whatever, but um, he talks to Iris West and kind of comes up with the whole plan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But um,
Because Bruce Wayne tells him not to do it. Bruce Wayne's like, "Hey," which they say that in the trailer. Like Bruce Wayne's like, "Hey, if you go back and do this, like you could, ruin everything. You could destroy everything. You could whatever." Like, and
yeah,
Flash
he's like
is
these things are what make you. Yeah, you don't live in the past, but these things are what them
make
scars are what made them. So
yeah, it's what makes you you basically.
yeah, then he
Um,
wants to hang out with Bruce Wayne, and he's like, "Nah, maybe later." Gets in his
yeah,
like
yeah.
fancy ride and he
He says
drives off.
like, yeah, he's like, not this time, pal.
Yeah, not this time, pal. Yeah, he's not gonna hang out with him. They're
Yeah,
not going to the club. But
yeah. They're not. Yeah,
no, like the special effects. So when he runs fast enough, start breaking time, and he creates like this bubble.
yep.
And I was very I like how they did it. When I first saw it, I was like, what are they doing here? But like it formed this bubble, and it's like almost
Like
like a sphere
a
around him,
sphere.
and he
Yeah,
can like see like all the different time
it's
pieces that are
yeah. It's
going on.
well, and it almost I don't know if that first one is like this, but it makes it look like he's got like he can see the different timelines as he's running. He can see the different like pieces of different like events that could happen during in that spot. I know that
Yeah, I'm not
happens. I
sure.
don't know if that first one does it, but I know later on it does do that. Like he starts
Yeah,
like seeing different timeline pieces.
I think I think it's everywhere where he's been. Like he can see the stuff like that he's affected or been.
Yeah,
So I don't know what the exact imagery there you're looking at, but it shows like pieces that are recognizable to us as the movie watcher. Like okay,
yeah.
he was there, he was there, he was there, and he finally finds those spots and he kind of peeks through and then he comes through. Um, oh, at what point did the Dark Flash punch him? Did the
I
Dark
think
Flash punch him right there
I
and punch him out of the bubble?
that's either right there, or that's either the first time he does it or it's the second time he does it. Because he does it at least once, and then Bruce Wayne tells him not to do it. So then it must be the second time that the Dark
Uh,
Flash comes in.
yeah, I got Dark Flash back down the desk, but um, yeah, I would have to watch that again to see when the first time, because there's a lot of things you don't notice the first time around because you
Yeah,
don't even know who Dark Flash is. So in the other iterations of the Flash going back in time, there's always some Speed Force demon or something that tries to come out and get him. That's trying to protect like the time stream, I guess you would say.
yeah,
But he always creates an alternate like evil version that tries to chase him down, sort of.
or
And
even
that's
even
kind
just
of where I
like
thought,
even like a
yeah, that's
Reverse Flash or something like that. There's
yeah, that's
usually
what I
there's
thought.
something.
Yeah, that's what I thought this was going to be, but turned out to be something else entirely, which was crazy
Yeah,
at the end. But he goes back. He puts the extra can of tomatoes right
yep.
in the grocery basket, whatever wherever the trigger was to save
Cause,
his mom, and
yeah,
he's
because
like, I
that's
did it.
yeah, because that's
So
basically
now
the
his dad
whole.
didn't go to the store. Now his dad would be home, and the
Yeah,
burglar or whoever it was, wouldn't go in. So it's kind of that scenario, and the whole thing he thought worked out because he started traveling back,
yep.
and he came out. He may get punched there,
Maybe
but he
that's where
came
he
out
gets
like
punched is when he comes
yeah,
back.
he came out and he came out too early.
Yeah,
Um,
because he comes
and
out
you don't
basically where
know.
he's 18.
Yeah, you don't know that at first. He's just like at his original house. Goes in there and it starts. Things are different. Obviously, his mom's there, his dad's there, and they're like, you look. And his dad's like, you look older. You cut your hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's like, you look older and all this stuff. And it starts to make it clicks when he sees his other self, who's
yeah,
like actually 18. He's come out too early.
yeah. And
So
his other self is like, I don't, maybe
total
maybe
bum.
yeah, I was gonna say not a druggie, but he's like definitely on shrooms or something like that. Like he's
He's
a pothead or
yeah,
something. He's just
yeah,
like a generic. I say generic. He's just like a high school kid or whatever.
right.
Just kind of living off the
Well,
land.
he's like in his first year of college, but he's 18.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and he's having to come back. And he's going to do his laundry at his mom's house. He still has his room at his
Right.
mom's house if he wants to crash there, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess parents would do that if you had the extra room. I don't know. Some parents just clean out your stuff and be like, "That's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
hobby room now."
I take it back.
Um, yeah, take all your crap with you. Maybe because he's still, but he had that other place though. He wasn't even in the dorms. That was crazy. He had like this little apartment place,
Which
but
that was the same apartment he had
yeah,
in the correct
yeah,
timeline or the
yeah.
main timeline.
But his 18-year-old version had like two or three roommates or something. That's probably
Yeah.
how he afforded
Yeah.
it. But um, so he didn't even have powers. So he's
Yep.
changed it so much that he didn't have his powers yet.
Yep.
And he figures out like, oh, well, what day is it? Oh, he's supposed to get his powers because he was an intern at the lab.
Yeah, but he's not an intern. Like this one's not
But
an
he's not
intern because he's a
actually, yeah, he's
bum.
not, yeah, he's just going to college, but he's not an intern. He's not quite, as successful.
Yep.
So he has to get him there and winds up losing his powers in the process. Like
Which
transfers it to
I didn't really understand that. Like, why did he lose his powers? Just because
like
the other guy got
the
struck?
lightning
Like,
went through him, and I think it
yeah,
just like it all
it like,
sucked it out and went into
yeah, went to the other guy.
yeah, all the
Because
speed force went into the other guy.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's not really obvious in the trailers because they show one Flash that's able to run real fast, and then in the trailer there's like the part where they're touching each other's feet and they're like bouncing off. But really, like the majority of this movie, there's one Flash that doesn't have the powers, whether that's alternate version Barry or it's the current version. They don't really both have powers until later in
And
the
probably
movie.
yeah, half of the movie, yeah, at
Yeah,
least.
they're
But I mean, what'd you think about? Um, so then they need help because what happened? Oh, General Zod shows up,
yeah. Well,
and
at first, the first thing that happens is he's trying to like teach this new Barry like how to use his powers because
oh yeah,
like
that was
which
hilarious.
yeah, so like the other he tells the other Barry, which the other Barry like doesn't really listen to him, so he's in the middle of telling him like, hey, just so you know, if you run real fast, and then like the other Barry just takes off, and then he's finishing the
Oh, his
sentence with
clothes caught
like
fire.
your clothes are gonna catch on fire, and that's what happens. He runs real fast and his clothes catch on fire, and he's like
Yep.
naked in the street, and and he's that's part of the partial nudity for the PG-13 rating is you get to see Ezra Miller's butt.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and then he comes back, and he's got like the pod or something, or he's got like a robe in front of him, and and then he tries to tell him uh like, hey, you can't use your phase thing yet because that took me 6 months, or it took me a year. It took me a lot of practice to be able to do this. And he just ends up like phasing through the floor and just starts like phasing through the floors
Yeah,
of
he
the
fingers
building.
through the floor to the apartment downstairs, and you hear
Yeah.
this lady go, ah!
Yeah.
And he's like, I scared Mrs. Such Such. I'll have to
Yeah.
move now.
Yeah. And he's just like, well, I told you not to do that. But
Yep. I
but
think he
yeah,
learned that quicker because he'd already experienced it. Because Barry, the original Flash, had phased through the wall with
so he
him,
already knew that it was possible
so
to do that.
he knew like the setup for it. But so he probably learned how to use his powers a lot quicker
Yeah.
because he had
Because he'd
that
already
experience.
experienced them. But yeah,
Yeah.
like the next day, like they're on their computer. The one of the berries is like, or are they going to buy a donut or something, or like a coffee? Either way, they're in a
Yeah.
restaurant, and
They're at
like,
Central Perks or whatever it
yeah,
is.
Central Perks, and then it pops up onto the screen.
He,
It's General Zod, and it's Michael Shannon. He's saying, "Hey, bring us. You're harboring an alien, or you're harboring one of our
alien.
citizens.
Yeah. The fugitive.
Yeah, yeah, bring him to us, or we'll destroy your planet." And of course, like Barry Allen's like the main. I don't
The
want to say
Flash.
he's the main
It's
one,
called the Flash.
the Flash. He's like, well, yeah, like we need to go find Clark, or we need to go find Superman to bring him
Superman.
to
Yep.
bring him into this fight. Which so that's kind of the whole crutch, is they're like, well, we got to find these superheroes. So they start like googling like Clark Kent, and of course in Metropolis there's 1,000 different Clark
Yeah.
Kents because it's a pretty
Well, and he
pretty
finds out
generic
real
name.
quick, like he thinks he's broken the timeline so bad there's no metahumans.
Hmm.
Because there's no Aquaman, there's no Wonder Woman. He
Yeah,
can't find Clark Kent. Um, and then they said something about Batman, and one of those roommates is like, "Oh, I'm Bat." She's like, "I'm Batman," as she's breaking.
yeah,
I'm Batman.
yeah,
I was like, "How gross is this scene? Come on!"
yeah, yeah,
And they're like, "Wait, you know about Batman?" Yeah. And so they have a Batman. So they go track down because he knows it's Bruce Wayne. So they go out to the mansion. They go
yeah.
track him down, right?
Which I
And it's
thought that
all
was,
grown
yeah, it's
up
all
and
grown, yeah, and
not
that
taken
was,
care of.
so I was mentioning earlier that like this movie is legitimately funny whenever they're pulling up to the Manor Estates or Wayne Enterprises. I guess it's Manor, or the Wayne
Wayne
Manor.
Manor.
Yeah, Wayne Manor. They pull up, and the Flash, that's the younger Flash, young Flash, is basically
Mhm.
like, "Is this hell?" Yeah,
It's so grown up and just
yeah,
gothic looking and just
yeah. He's like,
not taken care of, falling
yeah.
apart.
He's like, "Are we in hell?" Which I,
Yeah.
I thought that was, he was,
There's some good spots in there. And
yeah.
what I like is what'd you think about when they went in there and they went in the kitchen and the
Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, because they go into the kitchen, and it's the classic like
pot's
scenario
boiling.
where like the pot's boiling, like you can still see like there's like a bite taken out of a sandwich. It's that type of stuff. Like there's definitely somebody that's in here, and but they're kind of like, well, I don't think, I can't tell who's in here, right? I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's here. And then you see like it. This kind of goes back to the horror piece with Andy Machete, because in the background there, like the cabinet opens up and you see like this guy like crawling out of the cabinet,
I
and
missed that part.
yeah. Oh, you missed that part? Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah.
All I know is like all of a sudden he was there and I'm like, oh,
No, no,
you
he
know.
if you're watching the background, like there's almost like a cupboard, and the cupboard opens up, and you see this like thing like slither out, and I was like, "Oh, like, it makes it look like it's a monster, but or whatever, but it like slithers out a little bit, then it's, creeping
You see
across
him
the
creeping
kitchen
across the
with one shoe
island. Yeah.
missing." With one shoe
Yeah, he's got
missing.
one flip flop. But then he just starts beating the hell out of him, and you can see
Yeah.
it's an old man. It's like he's got the long gray hair, and this is obviously the
And
old
the
Bruce
long,
Wayne.
yeah, long beard.
Yeah, beard,
Um
and
but they don't
he's like,
reveal him. They don't
yeah,
reveal
that's
him at
what's good,
first.
but he's like, fighting him good, pretty good, and the new Barry has the flash powers now, so he's
So
just kind of standing there,
he's just
and
like dodging
he's
and
like,
stuff. He's like, "Whoa, whoa,
what's funny is
whoa."
like, yeah, that old Bruce Wayne's like throwing stuff like it's a battering, but it's like
Yeah.
kitchen stuff, like a frying pan,
Yeah.
a pizza cutter, and the quick flash or the Barry with the flash powers is like just stepping aside, and it's like, like the pizza cutter sticks into the cabinet. I mean, he's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
really chunking stuff at him, but he's beating the other guy up too, the other
Yeah.
Barry up, and yeah.
And
So that
he
was, I mean, he still had it. He still had all the moves.
yeah.
Even
And I
better,
mean,
even better.
and of course, like at some point, I can't remember if it's the Flash with the powers or if it's the other Flash, but they kind of like I think maybe Bruce Wayne dives at the Quick Flash, and the Quick Flash just like moves out of the way, and so he crashes into the table, and so then he's
Yeah.
he like crashes into the table and he's on his back, and then like kind of wipes his face off, or wipes the hair out of his face, and the other one's like, are you Bruce Wayne? He's like, well, yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne. You're in my house, like something like that.
It's
Um,
like we're looking for Bruce Wayne. He's like, yeah,
he's like, yeah, like I'm Bruce Wayne.
yeah, pretty
um,
much. So that's when he figures out, and he's smart enough to figure out, right away. He starts explaining, well, you went back. You said you went back in time. Well, it's like this ball of spaghetti right here.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
of these you've created like all these parallel junctures.
And
So
they say if they cross over, what does he call that? Does he call it like an intervention event or
yeah,
something like
like
that?
so he's like, well, if I went and changed it at this point, how come? Like you're Batman from the past. You're different than mine.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
goes, well, and he takes two spaghetti things and he crosses them. He goes,
yeah.
he changed something here. People think it just changes going
The
forward, but it
forward,
actually
but
changes
yeah,
going back as well.
yeah,
Because it just shifted it out into a completely new
yep,
timeline. Like it went from that to boom. So you have two alternate paths that intersect, and then you have the new futures on both of them.
yep,
So that explained it perfectly. I was like, oh, here we go. Now
yeah,
we got
yeah.
all these parallel, you know, worlds out there.
Worlds,
So
and I did like
multiverse.
that I like that he said, it doesn't just change things, forward. He says that it's, which you said it a second ago, but it changes
The past.
like autonomously, like it changes all the way across the timeline,
Yep.
so you don't
It
have to
flows
like,
it back. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's how we got our 1989 Michael Keaton Batman back.
yeah. But of course,
And he's
they're
not going to
like,
help.
that's what he said. That's what I was gonna say. Like, so he's talking to him, and they're like, well, can you come help us fight General Zod? And he's like sitting there, and he goes, no. He goes
No.
up, and he just like climbs the stairs, and he's out of there.
Yeah.
And then so then they're like, well, what do we do now? And they like leave Wayne Manor, but then the
Because Barry knows
old
the secret
yeah,
entrance
I was gonna
to.
say the older Flash is like, well, we'll just go this way, and they basically take a secret entrance into the Batcave.
I'm going to use his bat computer, and he gets on there. And that's where you see like the like different acting level. I think for Ezra Miller, like as the more mature Flash, once he's up against the younger, less mature Flash, like
Yep.
I like that more mature version, the way he started acting
Yep.
in it, because he kind of like grew up real fast. He's like, okay, this is serious. I got to figure this out. And the new Flash, the young Flash with the new powers, is like crazy.
Yeah, he's
He's
kind of a
like
crazy. He's just
bouncing all over the place.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
He
find
like
the
they
they
find the
find the
Batmobile.
Batmobile. Spoiler alert: they didn't use it, which I didn't
Oh
really
yeah,
notice
they
until at
didn't.
the end.
Yeah, they
Like I
didn't
was like,
use it.
it's in several scenes, but it's just in the Batcave. At one point, the new Flash is
It's
just
like
like
sleeping in it.
the young Flash is like sleeping in it. It's
Yeah,
like he's like playing around on it and stuff. But
yeah. They never
yeah, I
use
wish
it.
they'd have used it. But the Batwing made up for it. I mean,
Yeah,
they used it a lot, so it was pretty dang cool.
yeah. But
But
the
he's
older
monitoring Bruce.
Flash, yeah,
Yeah,
let's say the older Flash is like kind of doing some research, like trying to
on the
find where.
computer. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like looking for Clark Kent. Of course, he can't find him. Then he's looking for, like where a metahuman might be. He's like looking for UFOs that have landed in the last like 5 years or something like that, or not
Crashes,
5 years,
yeah.
the last like 50 years, like that have crashed in Kansas.
Yep.
Um, and then they're like, oh well, we found this whatever. He's trying. He's also like at the same time also
Turns
trying to
out,
like he's trying to
turns
get
out that,
trying to get Bruce Wayne to help him.
yeah, it turns out that, what he thinks is Superman is being held in Siberia. The
Oh yeah,
Russians have
Siberia.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's a pretty interesting one because there is an alternate
Oh,
comic out
the
there
Red
where,
Sun.
Red Sun,
Yep.
where what happened if Superman grew up in Russia,
In
in the
Soviet
Soviet
Russia.
Union. Yep. So, but they've captured what we think is Superman and holding there, and then Bruce Wayne decides to get in on it because he is monitoring him. So he goes and
Yep.
comes down and he cuts his hair and all that stuff. Gets the reveal where he has all the bat suits. It's like I need to go back and watch that scene again or download a clip of it.
Because all
There's a
those
lot of suits.
there's a lot of suits in there, and they're all like real similar, but just like with slight differences. Like one of them looks like it has like a mask on it or something, like it's almost like Space Batman or something like that.
Yeah, or it could have been a water one. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, water,
Um,
I guess maybe is what it could be.
But yeah, he has all these different suits, which is pretty cool. It shows like there's a whole chunk of history where he was really active as Batman before he retired. Um, so, and everyone was hoping that they would do Batman Beyond, and Keaton will
Yeah.
be the older version, which I'd be perfectly happy
Yep.
with.
Yep.
You know, I think all those plans got pushed asunder once now that the new
Yeah.
Gun
You gotta
DC
say, yeah, now
is
that James
taking
Gunn is
over.
over it, yeah.
Yeah, because this movie's not even in what he's creating. But
Which is kind
that
of, I was gonna say, which is kind of surprising. Like, we can talk about it once we get to the very, very end of the movie. But like, this movie could have fit into James Gunn's timeline if they were just gonna use, the Flash
yeah
to like make a new timeline. Like, the Flash could have
yeah,
just
and
made a new timeline.
that's what they were originally going to do is like do a reset with this one where they could do whatever they wanted. But
But
this
yeah,
movie, how long have they been making this movie? Like 3 dang years or something? I mean,
it
it
may.
finished
I bet it's
filming
even.
like a year and a half ago, easily, maybe
Yeah,
two.
I bet it's.
Uh,
I bet it's been filming for longer than that, man. It's been
yeah,
filming
long
a
enough
while.
because Ezra got well, they filmed like another ending, like I said, not too long ago, and then they added it. So they had like 3 different endings. It was in the works so long that uh, the executives like changed multiple times, so they kept changing the direction of this movie.
Yeah, I could
So
see that.
I'm really surprised at how well the movie came out with that many different people meddling around. Like, we don't like this, we're gonna change.
Yeah,
That's why you got 3 different endings,
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
But so I'm really happy considering that. But yeah, so they go to Siberia and they use the Batwing, which was
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
Which I liked that. Did you like that transition where they're the
Mhm.
Batwing's falling or not falling, but it's being lowered down and then it flies out, and then as it's flying, it kind of does like the
Yeah,
thing where like it's like kind of flips and then it
you're like
transitions from
upside down, and
yeah
yeah.
it transitions to them being in Siberia like just seamlessly. I liked that a
That was
lot.
perfect. Yeah, I liked it. I liked all the Batwing scenes. Obviously, I'm kind of a fan of that Batwing
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
That Batwing's
Got the
pretty sick.
McFarlane. Go check out that video. Got the McFarlane Batwing. Pretty epic. But um, and it turns out once they get in there, and Batman was pretty badass in that
Yeah.
scene where he's taking out all the Russian military people in this
I
facility.
I liked
And you
I liked the part where so they're gonna do like a sneak mission into the space, and of course
yeah,
like almost instantly the Flash with powers like knocks, which he could have caught it, but he knocks something over, and of course it alerts everybody, like he knocks over like a frying pan, not a frying pan, but like a he knocks over like an oxygen tank, and like it falls, it hits the ground, everybody
yeah,
turns
the
around,
shovel.
the
Yeah,
shovel, yeah, but he knocks over a couple things, and then they they're walking out and they've got their guns drawn on both Barrys, and then Batman, like, it plays the Danny Elfman theme, but it he like walks up and he's like, I think this is gonna hurt, and then he like jumps down to go and like he jumps down to go grab him, and then he starts like hurting people, but then he does like the
yeah,
superhero landing, he lands on his feet or lands on his knees or something like that, but I just like that right before he does, he's like, this is gonna hurt, and then he goes down and,
yeah.
and does it.
Yeah, he was pretty awesome in that, and he's like, blocking the bullets with his
He's
with his
blocking the bullets
suit
with like
and
his
all that.
cape. Yeah,
His cave's got something in it where it's bullet resistant. And
but
he's throwing batarangs out, and
yeah,
he's still getting hurt because not all of his suit is bulletproof because it's got to be flexible in certain areas. And he does take and he stitches himself up later, but he is
yeah,
taking some injuries doing all this. But it's pretty awesome seeing Batman back in action.
yep,
Better than ever as far as the stunt work and the
yep,
choreography compared to the older movies. So
yeah.
hats off to them and their stunt coordinators because it was badass.
It's pretty awesome.
And and of course they saved the Kryptonian, and who's the Kryptonian wind up
It's
being?
so it's like Supergirl, right? Is she called
Supergirl. Yeah,
Supergirl? Yeah, so
yep.
that's let's see, what is her name? That is Sasha
I
Cal
don't.
or Sasha
Yeah, I
Cali.
don't. Yeah, I don't know how to say her real name, but she was a good actress in this. But they save Supergirl out of there. Well, at first they're like, who says that? Like, they're like, this isn't.
It's not,
This isn't.
it's not
This isn't
Clark.
Superman. Yeah, this isn't Superman. And
And at
so the
first,
Flash
let's say at
that
first
doesn't have
Batman
powers.
Batman says to leave her. Like Batman's like, oh, that's not Clark, like leave her. And then he says, and then the Flash
Yeah,
without
did he say
powers,
leave or did he say let's go?
or let's he says something, and like, but he basically implies that they should like
They just get out of here. Yeah,
leave him there. And the Flash without powers is like, like, well, I'm not gonna leave her here. And then he picks her up and he, carries her out, and he says something
yeah.
like,
I
he's like,
got you.
I got you, or like, I'll help you, whatever.
He says I
um
got you
yeah, I got you. So,
because
then
she
they,
says it to him later.
yeah, she says it to him later.
Yeah, so that was good. I mean, and of course, as soon as she gets out in the sun, she starts getting powers
Well,
back and helps
I thought that was a cool effect, because like, she's basically emaciated, and
emaciated.
yeah, she's
Yeah, and they've
emaciated
been
inside that
drilling
thing.
into her back. They've been drilling into her spine, trying to
Yeah,
they're researching, trying to make probably
probably
figure
more
out how she has
super,
powers.
yeah, more
Yeah,
superheroes or more super people. But yeah, like,
yep.
so she gets out into the sun, and something happens where like they get like slung out into the snow, and so like
Or like
her
they ride that
body.
elevator up, and
Yeah, but she gets
yeah,
like ejected.
Batman has to put a depth charge,
A
like,
depth
or a
charge,
charge
yeah.
under
Yeah,
yeah, like a
he has to.
explosive thing underneath it,
Yeah,
and
he's like, how much do you weigh?
he gets out his bat measurement tape, like, and sets it. That was like a cheesy moment. It's
I
like
was
they're
gonna say
trying to
that's
be
like
funny.
it's
That's
like
over the
all.
top, but he's like how much you weigh, and
Yeah,
that's and it's a callback. Some of that's a callback from the original movie when he grapples up with Vicky Vale. He's like, how much you weigh, and she lies, and so he can't make it all the way to the top, and he has to release himself and fall, so Vicky Vale could get away.
yeah,
So that's why he's like, how much you weigh.
yeah,
He's like measuring it, and then he like sets it up a little bit higher. So
yeah,
then they like get blown out of that thing, yeah, and they're all like all over the roof of this
yeah.
facility in the snow, just fighting it out.
But like, whenever they get ejected into the snow, like it, the camera pans over, and like the Supergirl has her hand just like above the step, and she's got like the real bony, gross
Yep,
fingers. Then of course, like, as the sun starts hitting it, like they start kind of not regenerate, I guess
blessing up. Yeah,
regenerating, but they start like, getting their power back. So you're like, oh,
yep,
like something's about to go
getting
down.
powered up,
Yeah, they're getting
powered
powered
up.
up. Power of the sun.
Yep.
Which I thought that, like, the CGI on that is a little wonky. Like, whenever you've got Supergirl flying around and stuff, and she's just beating the tar out of these people, and she doesn't follow like the Superman rule where she doesn't kill people, because she definitely kills those.
Oh, she's
Those,
like, yeah, she's pissed. She's throwing people
yeah,
around and
which they've been drilling on
all
her
that.
back and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
she has no loyalty to these
Mm-mm.
Russians.
Yeah. Well, and she's been there the whole time without Superman,
Hmm.
because we find out later that Zod intercepted. She was sent there to protect her cousin,
And then I guess she
who
gets
was a
captured
baby
almost instantly.
yeah, she gets captured at some point, yeah, and just held there. Um, but apparently Zod intercepted Kal-El, and
Yep.
when he was a baby, drilled into him, killed him because he thought Kryptonian DNA was hidden in there
Yep.
because he's trying to terraform the planet, and apparently it was actually in Supergirl the whole time.
Which, that's a little bit
But
different. I guess that's like, just part of the timeline difference, is that,
that's the break, yeah, in the
yeah,
timelines.
is that she's like the main Superman or super person on this
Hmm.
planet.
Yep.
What do you think of Michael Shannon as Zod again? Like, did you like him in Man of Steel?
He's fine. Really the Kryptonian thing, it was almost like a little side piece to this. Like it was going on, but the whole movie wasn't really built around it. It was just something kind of going on.
Yeah,
And I didn't have the same level of like, anxiety like he's terraforming the planet. You don't see all the destruction in the city. You see a little bit of it in like when Flash is remembering what originally happened, and he
yeah,
was only able to save like one kid
yeah,
because he just got his powers. But
yeah. So he didn't have full
it
control.
was a little different because they're out kind of more of in a desert area fighting the military still. So they were at that point where they're haven't wiped out like the military before,
Yeah,
completely engaging those world engines. And but they're in their suits still because they're not fully powered up, but they're getting their powers. So they have those Kryptonian technology suits, which makes them stronger
yep.
anyway. So they're just like creaming the military out there, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, which, like, I liked that. I didn't really understand how at one point the Flash is like, "Hey, we're not going to be able to kill any of these Kryptonians. You can knock them out, but you can't kill them." And I was like, "Why? Like, why can't you kill them? Like, I mean, Superman gets killed a couple times, so why can't you kill these Kryptonians?"
Yeah, and I think I think he just knows like how strong they are from the original
Yeah.
Like he's thinking he couldn't, but I mean, he does the Flash, the evil, where he
Yeah.
uses his knife hand into one of them. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that probably killed one of them.
Yeah, because he does
You
that at
know,
one
I
point,
mean,
and
just go around and do that to all of them, and we would
yeah,
be done with the movie. Like,
yeah.
but
I was expecting him to pull out like a heart or something like that, doing that, like just grabbing the heart and pulling it out, like
yeah,
Mortal Kombat style.
yeah,
Um,
that's like a reverse Flash move where he vibrates his knife hand into people and kills them.
yeah.
But so he did do that to one of those Kryptonian soldiers, and pretty much I think it just kills him. I don't. He falls down after that. So, like, do more of that. I mean, just do that to
Yeah.
every one of them. You're good.
Yeah.
I mean, you phase in, you do it. But they had to keep the movie going,
Yeah.
and
Oh, we didn't even talk
Trey,
about one thing with this fight is Batman's Batwing has like this like pod thing where he can like
yeah,
no matter which way he's flying, he almost has like a gyroscope as to how
yep,
like the
yeah, he
like how he
can
can fly,
activate it. He can
which
activate it and like keep himself
sent like
centered
upright.
with the level with the horizon and the
Yeah.
wings that rotate around him. So he has a center pod,
Which I like
thing.
that a
So that
lot actually.
that
I
Batwing
thought
is cool. That's what I'm saying. It's way more advanced than the one in the original movie.
yeah.
Because
Which and
Joker
I
took that down with just a freaking long,
with that long
you
pistol.
know, yeah, some type of explosive shell hit it just right and took
Yeah.
down the Batwing.
Took down the Batwing.
But
Because like none of these Batwings that you have, none of them have like any sort of hint that that's a thing that it can do that
no,
gyroscope.
no, this one has like the cockpit, but it doesn't. It has like the glass at the bottom, so you can see
Okay.
that, which you saw in the previews too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't see like the inside spinning on any of these.
That it could spin. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
that
I
was
thought
a,
that
that
was
was a trip.
I
That
thought
was a
that was a
trip.
cool idea. That was a cool idea, and it worked out a couple times where I think he does it at least more than once. He does it once, but I think he does it more than once, where something jumps onto the Batwing and he can like
Yep.
rotate it, and he can
Yep.
just basically sling him off almost.
He tried, yeah, but he winds up getting
Well,
getting pummeled out of there.
I think he does successfully do it once, but not to the one that actually takes the Batwing down. Like I don't think he does it to
Yeah.
that obviously that one because this one does fall into like that classic like once you've unlocked the power of time, like that kind of becomes a crutch in the movie where it
At
maybe
the
not as much in this
very
one,
end. Yeah.
but it's just like they basically fail, like they start failing, like Zod is killing people, Batman ends up crashing his Batwing into the ship, and he's
The
like
main he takes out he tries to take out the big ship,
yeah,
and
and he
that,
gets
that
shot
tripped me
down.
out. Okay, so that tripped me out. That's a good point. Like, so Batman's hanging out in the Batwing trying to take out all the aerial vehicles and doing pretty good at the
Yeah, he's
small
doing pretty
ones.
good. Yeah.
But the big one that they have, it has shielding, and he didn't know about it. He launches, some missiles into it, doesn't do anything, and then the Batwing gets damaged, and he
They
tries
return
to,
fire
and he can't. His eject seat is busted, so he just decides to
to
crash
smash
into
into
it,
it.
hoping to take it out, and then like he's just dead, and it's still
Yeah.
there. And I was like, wait,
Yeah,
there was
it's like
several scenes they showed me in the preview that, so that kind of they showed a little too much in these trailers
okay.
because there were scenes that I had not seen yet of
Yeah.
him in the Batwing where he came out of the Batwing because they showed
Okay.
that. I was like, that had never happened yet, and now all of a sudden Batman's dead,
He's gone.
and so they kind of ruined that like shocker moment. So I was like, something's gonna happen. They're about to change something, and
Yeah.
sure enough, like you said, the new Barry, the new Flash, is like, we'll just go back and change time because we're not winning, and like goes back and a little bit, and then okay. So they save Batman.
Well,
He tried to save Supergirl, but makes it worse. She dies quicker.
yeah.
Okay, we try it again. Try it
Well,
again. Try it
I,
again.
I was gonna say one of the best things, which I feel like Batman normally wouldn't do this, but they go back in time the first time, and Batman's like, I'm gonna try to take out this big ship, and then one of the berries is like,
New Flash. Yeah.
he's
Or
like
the old
the
Flash.
original one. We didn't even talk about how he got his powers back. I mean, he gets his
That's fine.
powers back. He gets his powers back. He gets like Batman, whatever.
Helps him. Yeah.
He uses his bat
They
kite
electrocute
to,
him. Yeah.
but they use the bat kite to do it.
Yep. The Batkite.
It's just
That was epic,
it's
man.
just- they freaking launched that bat kite.
He has the best toys. Like
Yeah.
Joker said, where does he get all these wonderful toys?
Yeah.
He has the best. He has the
Yeah.
Batkite. Ben Franklin him, with the lightning and the chemicals.
Yeah, and it doesn't
Supergirl
work,
helps
and
out.
yeah, Supergirl takes him up and whatever. Okay,
So
so
anyway,
but they go back in time, and the new Flash is like, Batman, Batman, this ship has
Wave off. Ship has
yeah, the ship has shields,
shields.
and Batman's like, copy that. And it just like pulls up or whatever. I'm like,
He's
would
not
Batman have?
stupid.
I was like, would Batman have
Yeah.
done that?
Yeah, he's not stupid. He's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I
He's like,
mean, this is
he just
some
says, he just
alien
says,
technology.
yeah, he's
He's
just like,
like,
copy
okay.
that. Pulls up.
So he's like, so he tries to go after that.
Does
What's
he
his
try to go
name?
after Zod? Or he tries to go after
Not
just one of the
Zod, but
random.
the well, it's the bigger. I can't remember his name. It's the bigger
The bigger
Kryptonian.
Kryptonian.
So it was like three main guys. There's Zod, the
Yeah,
female Kryptonian, and that bigger guy. And it was him. He was just wreaking havoc down there. So he like tries
yeah,
to shoot him up with the Batwing, and that's the guy who jumps on and winds up causing his canopy to get broken, and then Batman flies out of there, and the Batwing crashes, and then he fights him on the ground
yeah.
and puts
I
like
liked
every. I
he
like
was
that fight
I
because
like
he's all
that.
over him. He's just
Yeah,
using all his
when he's
skills,
like throwing these like
putting these
mines and stuff.
explosive charges on him, and it's not killing him. He's getting married. He finally knocks him out barely, and then he kind of Batman kind of drops his knees and kind of almost collapses, but you can tell he's like whooped.
Yeah, yeah.
In this battle has whooped him. Not only probably because of age, but he's injured. And how did it? Because that guy got back up, but the Flash did something.
Well, he got back up and maybe oh, so what happened is I think right before he collapses, he puts that last depth charge on like the back of the guy's head and then like it explodes and then like the other Flash like it explodes him and he gets shrapnel inside of him.
Oh yeah, and that other Flash uses the Kryptonian shrapnel
Yeah.
to stab him. So that's when the young Flash starts getting all the shrapnel in him.
Which in that like
And they're in
as soon
that.
as that stuff starts popping up, you're like, oh no, this is Dark Flash. Like because he gets like
Mhm.
he gets like
Yeah,
this
as soon as you see
he
it.
gets this big long
Yep.
blade across. Like that's the first thing
Yeah.
he gets this big long blade.
Yeah. Grab my guy.
Yeah, yeah. So he gets that first like blade, like right across his arm. Um,
Yeah, that one.
yeah, which is pretty cool because like it's like a I guess Kryptonian. It's like some kind of Kryptonian a blade thing.
Metal.
So
Yeah.
he's able to like actually cut the Kryptonians up with it.
Yep. It helps cut through their skin and through their technology and stuff. So
Yeah,
he
but
uses
like
the Kryptonian metal
but
against them.
he's basically failing like continuously. He's failing, and so every
So they're in the
time,
time loop. They're in the time bubble again, and
yeah,
the young Barry's like, I gotta go fix it, and he keeps like going back out
and every time he
over
comes
and over and
back, yeah,
over and over. Every time he comes back with more of the Kryptonium crap on him, and he's getting older and older and older. But till you realize, oh,
yeah,
okay, he's the Dark Flash,
yeah,
and it's like mess with his mind because he's been trapped doing this his whole life in this one
yeah,
battle.
yeah,
Never can fix it. Never.
yeah. But
So
he keeps coming back.
original Flash is like, I broke everything. He's like, I gotta go back and set it right.
Yep.
And the young Flash knows, well, that means that his mom's gonna die.
Yep.
So he didn't want
Which
that
he
to
doesn't
happen.
like. He does like I don't want my mom to die, which,
Mhm.
pretty classic.
But then the young Flash saves him, so kind of redeems himself in a younger version of himself,
Yeah.
and he goes
I did
back.
I was gonna say if we're talking about like so you have like the Dark Flash, then you have the Dark Flash that's like actual Dark Flash, and then you have Barry Allen, then you have the Barry Allen that is becoming Dark Flash. Like all three of them kind of have the conversation of like
Mhm.
like the Dark Flash is like I'm so close, and he's all gray and grizzled. He's like I'm so
He's
close to winning. Yeah, he's
yeah.
old, and he's like I've been doing this forever. Like, but I like he's like I think I'm almost there. And the regular Flash is like, hey, we got to give it up. Like this timeline is basically donezo. So one
Some
thing I was
things
gonna
you
say
can't.
is like
There's
they
some
can't.
problems that don't have answers.
Yeah, but one thing I did like, and I think they handled it pretty well, is like, it is kind of a classic trope that like there's a version of yourself that's like real dark and real evil, but like the Dark Flash in this one, I don't feel like is truly evil. Like he hasn't like he's still trying to fix stuff, but he's not a bad guy per se. He's just trying to fix stuff. So I think they handled that pretty well, where it's not like at the very end of the movie, like they have this weird epic battle with this Dark Flash. Like the Dark Flash is really just only in it for 5 or 10 minutes, and he's just talking to them. And
Yeah, he does try to kill
he tries to kill him, but like,
original Flash, but
but
instead he
it's
kills his younger self.
yeah,
So
which it just felt like
resets
it
a
was
lot of things, and then then Flash goes back and he has to, take the can of tomatoes back out of that his mom's shopping cart. So
Yeah.
the whole event, the whole chain reaction starts again where his mom dies.
Yeah.
So and he thinks he's set it back,
Yeah.
and he kind of
'Cause
schemed it, which you don't really figure out exactly what he's done until the end. But he's moved the can of tomatoes where it's on the
on the
top
top
shelf. So
shelf.
now his dad will look up and actually can be seen in the video camera.
Yeah.
Whereas before he didn't look up, so it
Because
didn't
he was always
exonerate
just like
him.
looking down the entire
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he gets out of jail. So he goes regular Flash, goes back. He thinks everything's set back. He goes to the hearing. His dad gets exonerated from the new footage. He's like, I fixed everything.
Yep.
And then old Bruce Wayne's like, I'm pulling up now.
Yep. Yep.
Pulls up in his fancy car.
Yeah,
And who do we have?
which it is the same car from the earlier part of the movie.
Same car.
It's the same
Everything was looking
Mercedes.
the same up until this point.
Yeah.
And
And
then
yeah,
we
he gets
get
out. It's
George Clooney.
say Batnip. Batnip
We get-
Batman.
Yeah, we get the George Clooney version. And,
Yeah.
and he's like, wait, you're not
Oh,
Batman.
well, and I was gonna say, so like these PG-13 movies have one use of the F-bomb, and he uses it. They use it at the.
there, I don't remember.
Oh yeah. Because George Clooney walks out and he's Batman, and Ezra Miller sees him. He's like, "Who the F are you?" And it's
I think
it's
you
George
saw a
Clooney.
different version than me.
I saw
think you saw
I saw the adult version.
Yeah, I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He says, "Who the F
I
are
don't
you?"
remember no F bombs, but he's like, "You're not Batman." And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Because he was Bruce Wayne,
yeah.
So he's obviously Batman, and he
Yeah.
obviously knows Ezra is the Flash, or not Ezra, but Barry is the
Barry Allen.
Flash.
Yep.
Yep. So we got the George Clooney Batman back in that
Yeah.
universe.
And we didn't even mention it because like whenever the Dark Flash is going through and messing with the timeline, you start seeing these other worlds, and it's like worlds collide type stuff, and they start showing all these. It's not even alternate
They're
timelines.
breaking-
It's actually alternate universes.
Yep, the multiverse, and they're starting to break. They're starting to collide and hit each other. Things are tearing up.
Yep.
And that's where we get a lot of like nostalgia feels. We get to see the Christopher Reeves Superman,
Yep.
which was pretty cool. The original Supergirl from that era.
Yeah.
We
They
got
show.
our,
Well, I was gonna say they show the Flash, and they show the Flash with like the metal hat. Like it's
yeah,
like
but they
40s
didn't use
Flash.
the right actor. Yeah,
It's like
they
40s
didn't
Flash.
use that. Yeah, they could have used the same actor that's still around. But anyway, from the series, they didn't use the people from the series. That's what annoyed some people. That was a perfect place they could have plugged them in.
Yeah.
Because this Barry Allen in this movie era has crossed over into the WB Flash TV series before, and they've been together and they've talked to each other.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. So, and it was on one of those multiverse episodes, so it would have fit in perfectly to at least see, the TV series Flash in the movie in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, they chose not to plug him in, unless he's hidden in there somewhere.
Great.
Because
Yeah,
there's a
Grant
lot. I
Gustin.
think there's a lot of you could probably pause it a lot of places once you get the Blu-ray and see some things you miss.
Yeah.
But they show like the original Superman from the what was it, the 40s or 50s when he's black and white.
Yep.
And it's like that, like an actual image of him. Then we finally get our Nick Cage Superman.
Nick Cage, yeah, that Superman Lives, Superman. I was
we
like,
finally get Nick Cage as Superman.
Which that's one of those things like you'd have to be a hardcore like nerd to know about that, right? Like to know that that's Superman, like that Nick Cage was going to be Superman, right?
Hey man, who didn't know about that? He even did some test shots in like the suit. They were suiting him up before all that got kiboshed.
Yeah,
it would have been pretty epic. But
and that's supposed to be Kevin Smith's Superman.
Yeah, so we finally got to see him, at least glimpse him in that other universe, and so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, people are kind of freaking out right now. Not freaking out. Some people are like, why did they use George Clooney at the end?
Yeah,
and basically, like I said, they had filmed like 3 different endings. Because I think everyone was expecting, because the voice was a little different. You could tell it wasn't Batfleck. It wasn't Ben Affleck voice. So I was kind of thinking it was, we were going to see, in my mind, I was kind of hoping we're going to see Michael Keaton step out. And now he's like the Batman in that universe. And we could have had our Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
That is what I think was originally planned, because they were talking about the Batman Beyond
With Michael Keaton.
with Keaton as the older Batman, and
Yep.
it would have made perfect sense to reset that into that
Yep.
timeline. And they did film that apparently. They filmed it ending with Michael Keaton there, and I think Wonder Woman was there, Aquaman. They filmed like two versions of that. So there's two different endings there, and then they filmed this third one after the latest regime took over.
Yeah.
Oh, after James Gunn was handed the keys to the kingdom.
And he's like, we got to
They,
reset the timeline.
yeah, well, he's like, that's not in that movie's not in his universe, and the reason why they went back and refilmed with Clooney is they didn't want to have Keaton in there and not be able to deliver. And I kind of appreciate them for doing this because if I hadn't have read this article, I don't even know where I read it. I read it right after the movie, so I was like, why didn't they use Keaton? I looked it up.
Yeah.
Um, and they did that intentionally at the last minute because they didn't want people to have their hopes up that that Michael Keaton would be back as Batman, and you would have these same actors because he's resetting and he's going a different direction with all new actors
Yeah.
for his version. And I'm like, you know what? I actually appreciate that because now I've got a boxed in. I didn't ever think I would get Michael Keaton back as Batman.
And now you've
Not
at least
only
had
did
it
we get
once.
him back, and especially as old as he is, he did
Yep.
phenomenal.
Yep.
Got him back, got him with some cool toys, and his version may still be out there in another parallel multiverse timeline because apparently they didn't quite fix everything. So we have a
There's still.
multiverse established out there that they can play
Yep.
around in. But I like that they use Clooney. It's kind of like Clooney was panned as like that was the worst movie, and even Clooney himself is like, yeah, that just wasn't good. It was a stinker,
Yeah.
all the way around. He didn't like how he acted in it, and really, it's really I think
It's
the
really just the
devices.
comedy. Yeah, the comedy part of it.
Yeah, what had happened was with that movie, and it's been a while I've seen it. I think that's one with Mr. Freeze, isn't it?
Yeah, with Arnold.
They made it thinking they would sell all these goofy toys to kids. So
Yeah.
they made all the like movie stuff look just weird. It didn't look cool to me.
Yeah.
Like his Batmobile is crazy. I actually have a little Hot Wheel of it. It's like
Of
over
his
the top.
Batmobile.
Crazy.
Yeah.
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 Um,
I had a toy of his Batmobile back in the
yeah.
day.
So it's kind of like that thing. Like, okay, they put Clooney in there. That's the end of this saga. It kind of buttons it up for me. And I don't mind. I think Clooney did fine as like Bruce Wayne and stuff like that. But his like Batman toys were just not as cool.
Yeah.
To me. So that was interesting. And apparently, that was filmed. Ezra Miller came back and apparently was on his best behavior, or they's best, whatever he calls himself. I don't know. I'm not even.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
On their best behavior.
Yeah, Ezra Miller's best behavior, but like he apparently he's getting therapy and counseling for all his troubles.
Yeah.
And whatever. Somehow he's not canceled, so
Yeah.
he came back and did that, and everyone said he was perfect. He did it all. That final they reshoot that final scene, so that's why we wound up with the Clooney.
Yeah. Well, and just from what Andy Muschietti has said, if for some reason it does ever get greenlit that they're going to make a second Flash movie and they ask him specifically to come back, he said he's not doing it without Ezra Miller. So
yeah, they're not going to make another one.
But they did say.
Well, I mean, if this movie makes $1 billion, they would. You watch, they would make another one.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will.
I don't think it will. I think it only. Which I know you're the master of economics on these movies, but I think it only has like I think it only made like 60 million or something so far, and that's pretty light.
Well, it's only Saturday. How do you know that? I mean, not even a weekend box office.
Well, I was just reading articles about it that said it was pretty light at 60 million so far, or that's the projected number.
That's a projected number. Yeah, we don't know what the real numbers are till next week.
Not yet.
But how much did it cost to make it?
Oh, who knows? With those reshoots, let's see. Production budget, The Flash.
Yeah. And when did they start filming this thing? It suffered from being caught up into delays.
Around 200 million is what this is saying on Variety. 200 million before promotional.
Yep.
So
they need to make 600 million.
Yeah, they need to make a few dollar dues, and if they're projected for 60 million for this week or this opening weekend, it's a little rough.
Yeah, well, everyone's panning it, um, but we'll see. Like I said, when it's been a while since I've seen a movie where I actually heard reaction from people around me, and
Well,
I
like I
actually
said,
had physical reaction where I'm laughing out loud,
yeah,
and that was happening in theater. So that
we're
word of mouth is going to get out, whether or not you like the actor in it. I was able to disconnect from the what Ezra Miller has
the
done on
Ezra
the
Miller stuff.
outside. It's not like he's in jail for anything, but he's not the best character around. We'll just
Yeah,
put it that way.
yeah,
His antics are not the greatest. He doesn't
yep,
have the greatest track record, but his
yep.
acting in this was pretty good. You might not like his version of the Flash. I joke in one of the videos I have coming out tomorrow that his running people. Well, my daughter,
Oh, and
this is a good example.
that
Like,
was the joke too. Is that like his running is weird, and then at one point,
yeah,
whenever he doesn't have the powers, he does that run, but he does it in
yeah,
regular
and it looks
motion,
all like
and he looks all
weird.
weird because he's doing like this number, you
Yeah.
know?
So I call it swimming through the speed force. So it looks like he's swimming through the speed
Yeah,
force. That's how he does it.
yeah.
There is like one brief scene where he actually runs regular. I was like, why do you run like that the whole time? But it's like one brief little scene. I don't even know why he does it.
Well,
But
so
and
I
then he's swimming the whole time.
yeah, so
People don't
if
like that.
it's the scene
Flash
I'm
doesn't run like that.
yeah, if it's the scene I'm thinking of, he does that like he runs regular when he's like starting out. So he runs like that to start out, and then as he gets faster and faster, then he starts doing like the swimming
Starts
thing.
swimming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's just his take on how the Flash would go through the Speed Force, I
But
guess, or use
but
it. But it's
I think
weird.
that's a Zack Snyder thing though. Like I'm pretty sure he runs like
Could
that in
be.
Zack Snyder's stuff too.
Yeah, he runs. People didn't like how he run. He runs like he's off kilter. He's about to fall.
Yeah.
Um, all that type of stuff. He's not very, and then he's doing the swimming motion.
Yep.
So and that's just the style they developed for this Flash. So I'm just gonna live with it. That's how he runs. I
Yeah.
just call it swimming through the Speed Force. So there's people that don't like that version of it, but it is what it is. And those little quirks aside, I really enjoyed the movie. Like I said, 3.5. It would almost get 4 stars, except for some of the
Yeah.
odd choices with CGI. And they weren't terrible, terrible. I'm not gonna say they were terrible, but they could have cut some of those scenes down where it wasn't as noticeable.
And like I
Um,
said, I think in at least the Speed Force version of it, like the CGI was fine. I think it was good to like you're not gonna even if you go and get Nick Cage now and you're like, hey, like put on this suit or whatever, and we'll de-age you. Like the de-aging isn't gonna look perfect, you know. Like Disney with their billions of dollars is still
yeah, I
not
mean,
really. They're not hitting on this de-aging like they
if
could,
it
or
if it
like it's.
wasn't, yeah, if they hadn't have done the baby scene, I would have gave it the 4 star. But it was the baby scene that knocked a half star off for me.
See, I thought it was. I did think that was a little funny though, because it did kind of tie in with his calorie thing. Like, you know,
Well, yeah, there was
he's
funny parts where he's having to eat during when he's like running
yeah,
fast. He's eating.
yeah, he's
He
eating.
eats a burrito out of the microwave, but it's just the effects for those babies falling.
Yeah,
And, it's just like fat. That part wasn't in there. If they did something a little bit different there,
it may have been a little bit
that whole
better.
part would have smoothed out for me personally. And I
Yeah,
think that's what people keyed up on early. Because really, his special effects when he's running fast are fine with me. Because
yeah,
the Flash always looks a little off when he's running
yeah,
through the Speed Force, but um, even this in the series, he looks way bad in the series. If people like the way he runs in the series, that looks super fake.
Oh,
But
in the CW,
in
the
the
C
W,
Dub.
in the CW series, I keep wanting to call it WB, but it's the CW now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, so I mean, of course, budget to budget, it
yeah.
is what it
It's
is.
not quite the same.
So if it's at $200 million budget, they're going to need to pull in 600. So we'll see how well it does internationally. I don't know what the pull is on the international market for this, but I'd be
Yeah,
surprised. My estimate, and we can revisit it later. I'm estimating about a 500 million is going to
I
be where it's going to cap out.
yeah,
Probably. That's
I
my
could see
guess.
that.
It would be cool if it hit, 6, 7, because I want Michael Keaton's movies to do good. I
Yeah,
always liked him as an actor anyway, but I like his Batman, so I
yeah.
would prefer it do better. But they're not gonna make another version. They're not gonna make a Flash 2. They're moving on. So like the preview, I mean, the epic preview. One reason to go see this movie was that epic preview at the beginning. You
Ooh,
know what I'm
let's
talking about?
see.
And
Oppenheimer.
this is no,
Uh,
that wasn't in it.
Oh,
You definitely didn't see the same movie I did. You must saw a different like version of it, or your
yeah.
theater shows different previews.
We definitely showed different. Did you not have an Oppenheimer trailer in yours?
Nope.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm
So you did get to.
I'm 99%
Well,
sure we did. Do we have Oppenheimer?
you
I'm
may.
pretty sure
Do
it
you have
was.
Do you have an AMC theater?
No, no, we've got Synergy. So our it's not even, a national theater. It's a, it's a local Texas theater. So I did see it in Epic, which is the bigger screen. I think we had an Oppenheimer trailer. What did we have? Uh,
So what I'm talking about is actually going to be James Gunn's launch for his new DC um, world or universe or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what
uh-huh.
he's calling it, and it's the Blue Beetle.
Oh, the Blue Beetle. I'm sure that trailer showed up, but I'm not super hyped on that movie, so I probably just forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess our theater's like locally a local thing too.
Yeah, they did show that
We
one.
usually don't get the cool buckets and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't.
Um,
We didn't get the cool Optimus
I
Prime
got
trailer or anything like that. The trailer
yeah,
popcorn
I
bucket.
got I got one of those coming to me.
Oh
So
no, from the
we'll see
Bay.
if it ever. No, well, you can order them directly from AMC
Uh,
website. You don't
okay.
get those buckets locally. You just got to pay shipping, which is a bummer. But
Yeah.
I'm going to use that Optimus Prime thing to put. I thought I'd have it on my desk and put like all my extra, Transformer goodies and
Oh,
stuff. I'll
yeah,
use it to
yeah,
store all my extra Transformer goodies.
yeah, yeah.
Like his
His energy
when
apps
he's
and stuff.
when he's transformed. But um,
Epic.
so the Blue Beetle, it is Blue Beetle, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that one comes out like
Um,
next month, right? Next month or in
so
August.
in August. That preview was really good. I'd seen some of the comic book stuff on it, but I really wasn't huge into them. But I am aware of them.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good reset. If they're gonna, he's stepping off with this one. And I don't know how he'll tie it into the rest of DC universe as far as the other characters. Like your Bat. I don't know who his Batman is and all that stuff, but it's cool because it's a different character. But I think it's going to be exciting enough that's going to get people excited about going this direction he's going to go. And so we'll see. I'm gonna go on that one with a pretty open mind on it. And
Yeah.
the previews look really good. It's got that kid who played in Cobra
He's in Cobra
Kai.
Kai. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a good actor, and he's and obviously he's got karate skills, so he can do
So you can do
whatever.
some
But
fighting.
he can do some fighting if he needs. But it's kind of like the Blue Beetle, the Scarab
Yeah.
merges with him and it becomes a suit. So it's almost like it's better than an Iron Man suit, basically. But
Yeah.
it's a little tricky because it has its own. It'll do what he wants it most of the time, but sometimes it'll just do what it
It'll
needs
do
to.
what it wants to do.
It
Yeah.
wants to, yeah. So you see a little bit in the preview. So that's going to be really good. So that's his step off point for the new DC,
Yeah.
and they did show that preview,
Yeah.
at least
They
mine.
yeah, they showed that. They did show that one. It's just I always kind of forget that one's actually like technically part of the DC universe, so
Mhm.
I forget.
That's just interesting because it's going to be the gun verse. So
Yeah, which I have I have faith in him just because of how good Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, the three Guardians of the Galaxies, and
Guardians,
like all of those are good. And then
yeah, and I
he did
like Peacemaker.
he didn't do Brightburn, but he did that movie with Rainn Wilson. Is it called Super? You know what I'm
I
talking
didn't
about?
see that.
So that was like a rated R superhero movie with Rainn Wilson, which is the guy from The Office.
Okay.
And then of course he did like Slither, so he did like he's done a few like horror movies, but I think he's at least unique enough in his directing style and his like story like that people will go see it just because it's James Gunn. It's kind of the same thing with like Christopher Nolan. Like if Christopher Nolan's making a movie, it doesn't really matter what it's going to be. People are going to go see it, and I think James Gunn is right at that point too, where you just know you're going to at
Right.
least get a good movie if he's
I
in
think
charge of it.
yeah, if he's doing it, so yeah, I think so, and so it's going to be pretty good. And that, like you said, that comes out August,
I
so
think it was like
that's
August
a
15th or August
yeah,
16th,
it's like
so mid
yeah, it's
August.
right around the corner. Enough space here where people can go see The Flash a couple times in theater. Try to get those.
I'd
You
like to
should
see it
go
one more
see it.
time.
You know what? I actually thought about it. And it's surprising for how I rated it at 3.5 star.
Yeah,
Normally, I wouldn't go back and see a movie in theater ever because it costs too much money.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know about you, but these tickets are expensive
They're pretty
nowadays.
expensive. Yeah, yeah,
And I took my kids, so There was
That's
4 of us. That's 4 tickets, and then we all got popcorn, Coke, and they ripped us off. We did have these little flash buckets, but they're not cool ones. But they are like these plastic buckets. So the kids wanted that. So I was like, all right, let's get the flash. I got the whatever popcorn, Coke combos, and I won the flash buckets.
yeah.
Well, they charge you like an extra $5.95 for these buckets.
Oh.
And then like they set the popcorn, if they bring the popcorn over, I'm like, well, we're getting the buckets, right? And then he's like not charging us right. He's messing up the whole thing. I ordered nachos. Kids order like,
Hot
some
dog.
other they have really good chicken strips and fries, so they got some of that. There's a few other things, and one of my kids like, they only rang us up for one of these, and he's like, oh no, I put the buckets down here, and I separated the cups out like it was going to be a better deal for us. I don't know if it was or not, but so they bring the popcorn, and then they get the buckets, then they start pouring the popcorn out of the bag
Mm.
in the bucket. I'm like, you already gave me the bag. Just let me have the bag. We'll keep the buckets clean. He goes, oh no, we can't do that. You got to have it in the. He starts pouring in there. I was just like, so now my butter, my fresh butter that was on top,
Oh,
is now on the bottom.
it's not
And I'm just
layered.
like, I was just kind of like, I was trying to be nice because I'm with my kids. I'm just like, I wasn't trying
No.
to make a scene and get thrown out
Yeah.
after I paid for these tickets, but I was like, you guys are kind of ridiculous with that
Yeah.
right there.
Scumbags.
He's like, just figure it out. And then they tried to not give us two. And then he upcharged me and gave us 2 flash cups, which I didn't want. So I was like, well, I guess we just paid for these. So I gave 2 flash cups. I'm like, you still owe me 2 regular cups because we got these combos. And the kid's just like, he just gave me 2 cups. I'm like,
Oh man.
we paid. I paid for these combos, and I'm pretty sure I got ripped off one way or the other. But
Yeah. Is that
either
like
way, I
that's
mean,
like a $80 adventure on that?
100.
100. Oh
One,
gosh.
yeah, 100. We could have ate at the Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah, yeah. I know that's
I
the thing,
mean,
man. Like you go get you a nice like hibachi for
yeah.
for the
I mean, we
cost.
got the 2 deals of popcorn. We got the 4 jumbo, whatever, the big drinks. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
and I
those
had to pee
buckets.
so bad in this movie.
Oh, I did
But
too. I
then
didn't even talk about that. Like the
I
last
was
30
struggling the
the
last 30
last 30
minutes,
minutes, yeah, that was like I was like, "Oh my gosh." And then and my buddy was
and
sitting there watching it with
I
us.
wasn't, I
Yeah, I was
wasn't
like,
getting up.
"Oh, I wasn't going to get up either, but my buddy, he was sitting next to me and he's like, "Yeah,
I gotta go.
there's a mid-credits or mid-credits scene." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, if there's a mid-credit scene that's going to be like 2 minutes in, I can go to the bathroom then." No, it's a freaking post-credit scene. So I could have gone to the bathroom and come back, but I was just sitting there and it was one of those things where like as I stood up, I was like, "Oh man, I am hurting bad."
That's how I was. I sat through the whole thing and through
Yeah.
and at the end credits, I was like you. I looked over at my kids like there better be something here,
Yeah.
and there was. I was like, okay, I saw it. I got up. I could barely walk. I was
Yeah,
hurting
yeah.
so bad.
Yeah, yeah, that's how
And,
I
and
was.
then and then they only
Oh
have
man.
one set of at my theater. They only have one set of bathrooms, and it's at the very front
Yeah.
lobby area. So
Yeah.
I walk down this hallway, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and then they were all full by the time I got there, and I'm like, But when I finally got in there, I was like, this is like
Oh.
better than the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
pain is going away. And
Well, I was just mine was one of those ones where like after you're done, like you're in pain just from holding it for that long. So like even after it's over, you're like, man,
I was so
I'm
good
hurting.
after it was
Uh,
over. So
yeah,
and by the time I was washing my hands, like there was nobody in the bathroom. Like, where did everybody go? Like,
yeah,
it's
they
like,
got
was
out.
I really the last one in?
Yeah, you
But
were in there for the long haul.
yeah, I mean, it is one I would consider seeing again just because of the Batman stuff.
Yeah, the Batman stuff was good,
Just
and
because of the Batman stuff, and you know, yeah, I liked it. I liked the
yeah,
Batman stuff.
I like the Batman stuff, and like I said, it was they is the 2023 Wonder Woman cameo, so you can see Wonder Woman one more time.
It was a good scene with her too, and you may know what I'm talking about, but there's a good scene.
Yeah,
It's a good scene. So
yeah. I may know what you're talking about because you keep saying that I'm seeing a different movie than you, so
yeah,
maybe I
you
saw
said
a
a
different
different
Wonder.
movie, but there's a good angle on that
Yeah,
But
yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Wonder Woman.
I'll let people watch that on their own. But
Yeah,
you know, so if you're not a big Flash fan and you're into Batman, you're gonna get satisfied. That's all
yeah,
I gotta say. If you're just going for the Batman stuff, I think it was pretty satisfying.
yeah.
Um,
Did you
you
did you
might
have
not like.
any did you have any thoughts that like Christian Bale was going to come in at any point. Like I didn't hear anything about him being in it, but I was like, like maybe Christian Bale will show up as like
Oh,
Bruce Wayne or something like that.
and like I said, there might be some scenes tucked away in those multiverse things that just weren't popping out at me because there's so
Yeah.
much going on that may actually be like hidden gems if you know where to look.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something in there because I had seen an article somewhere that said like the motorcycle that I think from the Batman was in
Oh,
there, and
okay.
I was like, I never saw that, so I don't know where that was at. So maybe there's some other hidden Easter eggs for Batman um, versions in there hidden, but I don't know. Christian Bale Batman was like epic, but that universe there's like no metahumans. That was the whole thing
Yeah,
with that universe.
it's
Like
like
they didn't want any metahumans, no superpowers, so there's no Superman.
yeah,
There's none of that. So it's all
based all in reality.
grounded in technology type stuff.
Yeah.
Even though you have, I guess Bane was just jacked up on drugs or whatever, but so even he's more realistic, I
It's just
guess.
yeah,
He's just huge,
yeah.
with the flow of whatever steroids into his lungs. But
Yeah.
so yeah, no Christian Bale Batman. He is a good Batman,
Yeah.
but he don't have a bat wing like no one has a bat wing like Keaton.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. I like that. That Batman was pretty sweet. That was pretty awesome.
So,
Pretty
all right,
epic.
man.
Well,
I think we slayed this. We
we
slayed this.
crushed
We
it.
slayed everyone's ears out there listening.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
even have to see the movie now.
Yeah, yeah. We pretty much ran through the whole thing. Maybe not quite all in order, but we got pretty much all the way through it.
We got almost all the syllables in there.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been talking for right at a little over 90 minutes. So if we talked for another 40 minutes, that'd be the entire that'd be the entire runtime of the movie. But maybe
Yeah,
I
so
don't
go
think we'll
see
actually
it.
do that. Yeah, go see it. I'm planning on seeing it. Seeing it one more time, hopefully. But we'll see. We talked about it last video, but like this summer's pretty extensive with films.
Yeah,
You
we
got the
finally they finally uncorked the movies for us, so we're getting
Yeah,
movies now.
we're getting
A lot of
movies
stuff.
left
Indiana
and right.
Jones coming out. Indiana Jones is probably gonna hurt the box office on this one because when does
Yeah,
Indy come out next weekend?
I think it
What
comes
do we
out
have next?
I think it comes out the following weekend. It comes out the 29th, I believe.
All right, what's on our table for our next movie?
The
What are we gonna go
the
see?
next movie that we're gonna go see. Let's see. Upcoming movies, June
What's our
2023.
next one?
Um, I do kind of want to see this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I don't want to see that one.
You're
It looked
not into that
terrible.
one. Oh
I like
man,
Turtles, but that one looked terrible.
whoa! Come out! You need to get out of your shell, bro.
Yeah, Cowabunga, bro.
um,
We call it the ooze. I just don't. I was wanting a live action Turtles. I don't. I didn't want the sketch cartoon version where it's all
yeah,
sketchy.
yeah,
I'll see that who knows? If there's nothing showing at the theater, I may go see it. But like I said, tickets are expensive now.
yeah,
I need to get to a point where I'm just able to watch a movie there without thinking I have to buy the popcorn and Coke and the concessions.
yeah.
Because that would save me a lot of money. But
I I think
especially
I think
this
next week
theater.
we're I'm pretty much free. I don't think I'm going to be seeing anything next week.
It's
Next,
scotch free.
yeah, the only thing that's coming out next week that I would even like maybe want to go see is that No Hard Feelings movie with Jennifer Lawrence. It's kind of like a
When does
that's like a romantic comedy.
when does the Tom Cruise movie come out? Mission Impossible.
So that should be July. I think it's July.
All right. So on our docket, we've got coming up sometime in
Indiana
the near future.
Jones
We got Indy,
and Mission Impossible
Mission
Dead
Impossible,
Reckoning and Blue Beetle
Blue Beetle. Those are
and
definitely three
are
hitters this
are
summer.
you gonna go see Oppenheimer or Barbie?
I'll go see Oppenheimer.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
see Oppenheimer for
When's
sure.
that one coming out?
Oppenheimer's July 21st, so almost exactly a
July.
month. So word on the street is whenever the bomb drops in Oppenheimer, it's like you're actually there.
Yeah, that'd
So
be weird.
whatever that means.
Yeah. I always wonder how realistic they can make some of the scenes on it, and not as far as that goes, but like on how weapons are designed, and you know why.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's like
usually Hollywood has a really bizarre, a really unrealistic take on it, and
Yeah.
it's actually better because you don't want people.
That's what I was
You're
gonna
trying to be too
say.
realistic because you don't want people like, oh, I saw this movie Oppenheimer. Now I know how to make one of the old school ones, and I just
Yeah,
need this. So let me go dig. Let me go over to this facility.
dig up
Because
some
I'm sure they're
stuff.
selling it on the black market over here. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want any of that going on.
That's what I was gonna
But I
say. Is
am
like,
interested in that
yeah,
history to go see that one. So hopefully that's a good movie. If it turns out to be like something I could have watched like on the History Channel, I'll be like,
I doubt it. I mean,
why?
I feel like with the way
I,
Christopher Nolan does stuff, like it's worth it to go
it's
see it
probably gonna be
almost no
good.
matter
Yeah,
what.
they're gonna have to dramatize it because his history and his life was pretty. It was pretty steamy because he was
Oppenheimer?
getting into yeah, he was getting into some steamy stuff. So
Oh no.
we'll see. Yeah, yeah, he was a character, so we'll see how he's portrayed in this version or this movie. How
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
it follows the historical documents.
Well, and if anything, we can always talk about a movie we don't have to pay money to go see. Like if you want to talk about, Ghostbusters or something like that, we could go back and watch a classic. That way,
Yep, or the
we're not.
original Batman,
Ooh,
1989.
I need to go back and rewatch that one. I would be down to go back and rewatch that one because like I've seen it a few times, but it's I don't remember a whole
Yeah,
lot.
I don't know if I moved.
It's on
I used to
Max.
own I used to own a copy, but I don't have HBO Max now.
Oh, do you not?
Yeah, because I tried to stream it before going to watch The Flash, and everything wanted me to pay for it. I can't do
Mm,
that anymore.
yeah,
I'm not paying for that. I know I have a DVD of it somewhere in a
yeah,
box,
not
but
for
it's
that
going to be on a
price.
DVD. So I might need to go see if I can pick up a Blu-ray version of it. I don't know
Yeah,
if I don't know if
at
they've
your local
up.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, I got to go to Blockbuster.
Epic,
Yeah.
epic.
So that might be one. Well, let's make a list. We'll figure out what the next one's going to be. Um, so all
Well,
right, man.
sweet. All right. Well, thanks.
We'll get our buttery
Our
scale
buttery
down,
scale. Yeah,
our
it needs.
popcorn rating scale down.
Yeah.
We need to have a pop up where it's
Yeah, that's
like
what I was gonna say. I need to pop up the buttery scale and have like, one, two, three, four, or something like that.
5.
Yeah, all the way to five. Nothing's getting a five though, right?
It's gonna be pretty dang good to get that layered
To get
butter
to get the
rating,
layered butter.
at
So
least from me. So
yeah, exactly. Well, all right, guys. We're gonna hop off this old twitchy twitch for now. You got that layered buttery good or something salty fresh. So all right.
yeah, that's just my idea. That's what I text you. I finally found the text.
Yeah, yeah. I had to go find it, but all right, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.
Boom.
All right.